Hello students, I am Kaustuv. Welcome to my channel Study with K. In this channel, you will found videos related to class 10th of all subjects. So please subscribe my channel and also press the bell icon so that you can get notified as I upload any video related to class 10th. And also students, I will try my best to teach you in much exciting and interesting way. I am starting my YouTube journey from chapter 6 life processes of science biology. Actually this chapter is divided into 4 subparts: nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion. In this particular video I will teach you introduction of life processes and nutrition, and the remaining 3 subparts, respiration, transportation and excretion, I will cover these 3 subparts in 3 particular videos. So please subscribe my channel so that you can get notified as I upload in the next video on respiration.
So firstly, the processes which are necessary for the maintenance of life are known as life processes. Once again, the processes which are necessary for the maintenance of life are known as life processes. Learn this statement by your heart. The processes which are necessary for the maintenance of life are known as life processes. In much simplified way, we can say that life processes are very important for the survival of human being. Now, the characteristics of living organisms. They are growth, respiration, reproduction, excretion, sense of surrounding, transportation of materials and nutrients. We will study about these topics in our further video and about some of these topics in this video only. Now, energy, nutrients and food. We have to understand this phenomena of energy, nutrients and food. In this we have to study that firstly you must know that we need energy for doing all these life processes, and now you want to know that how do we get this energy. Firstly, the food we eat give us nutrients, and this nutrient is only the source of energy. Now this energy which comes is used in every single life processes. Now, what are the components of food? Carbohydrates, dietary roughage, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. To get adequate amount of nutrients, all of these are required or important. Now we have studied the introduction of this life processes. Now we are entering into nutrition. Firstly, there are 2 types of nutrition: autotrophic and heterotrophic. Organisms which make their own food are called autotrophs, and their mode of nutrition is autotrophic. Nutrition. Examples of this organisms which undergo autotrophic nutrition are plants, blue-green algae which contains chlorophyll. You must learn these 2 examples, plants and blue-green algae. Now the second type of nutrition is heterotrophic nutrition. Organisms which rely on other organisms are heterotrophs, and their mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. Examples: animals and humans. In more simplified way, we can say that autotrophs are independent, or we can say that they do not depend on any other organism, but heterotrophs are dependent on autotrophs. You must learn these two examples of both autotrophic and heterotrophic. Example of autotrophic is plants and blue-green algae, and heterotrophic is animals and humans. Now, there are 3 types of heterotrophic nutrition. First, saprophytic; second, parasitic; third, holozoic. First, saprophytic. The animals which feed on dead and decay matter are called saprophytes, and their mode of nutrition is called saprophytic nutrition. There are 2 examples of saprophytes: bacteria and fungi. Parasitic nutrition. The animals which reside on host and derive their nutrition from the host are called parasites, and their mode of nutrition is called parasitic nutrition. There are 3 examples of parasites: beetles, mites and lice. Now, third, holozoic nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which animals feed in or organisms feed in on the complex carbon compounds substances by ingestion and digest it with the help of enzymes is called holozoic nutrition. We humans do this holozoic nutrition. Now, holozoic nutrition. First, there are actually 5 ways in which holozoic nutrition is processed. First, ingestion. Firstly, we intake the food. Now, second, digest, breakdown of complex food material. Now, third, absorption of nutrients. Now, fourth, assimilation, absorption and proper transfer to the targeted organ. Now, fifth, egestion, removal of the waste material. Now, we have turned this page.
Now, this metabolism. Metabolism actually means breakdown of food of a complex to simpler and simpler to complex. Now, first type of metabolism is catabolism. Breakdown of complex food molecule into simpler ones is called catabolism. Example: C6H12O6 plus O2. C6H12O6 plus O2 is glucose, and when it is added with oxygen, it turns to CO2 plus H2O. Now, second type of metabolism, anabolism. In this, smaller molecules unite together to form complex compounds in the process of anabolism. Example of anabolism is CO2 plus H2O in the presence of sunlight, or we can say in the presence of heat. This is a symbol of heat. And chlorophyll, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, CO2 plus H2O changes to C6H12O6 plus O2. This is glucose, and this is oxygen. Now, stimulus. Any sudden change in the immediate environment is called stimulus. Our response to stimulus is called response to stimuli. Example: if you will learn this example, you will know about what is stimulus, and you will not have any query about this. Example are touching a hot plate and response of our hand. We obviously know that if we touch a hot plate, our hand responds automatically. And another example is touching a touch me not plant and its reaction. If you have seen a touch me not plant, if we touch it, it shows some reaction only when we touches it. This is called response to stimuli. Stimuli means the sudden change in the immediate environment. The sudden change in the immediate environment is called stimulus, and our response to stimulus is called response to stimuli. Now, this difference in unicellular and multicellular organisms. Unicellular, multicellular. This is very important differentiation, so please learn it thoroughly. First, unicellular organisms are made up of single cell, and multicellular organisms are made up of more than one cells. Unicellular organisms, in unicellular organisms, single cell is responsible for performing all the function, but in multicellular organisms, different cells are responsible for performing different functions. Now, third, in unicellular organisms, cellular level organization is present, but in multicellular organisms, organ level and organ system level organization is present. Okay, now we have come to topic nutrition in plants. Plants have autotrophic mode of nutrition. We have learned this earlier also. In the sense, when organisms prepare their own food, and the organisms are called autotrophs. You have studied also earlier also that the organisms which prepare their own food and who are independent, these organisms are called autotrophs. All green plants and blue-green algae are autotrophs. Now, autotrophs are of two types: photosynthetic and chemosynthetic. Photosynthetic, individuals which utilize light energy, or we can say sunlight, to make their food, are called photosynthetic or autotrophs. Example, plants. And in chemosynthetic, individuals which utilize chemical energy to make their food are chemosynthetic autotrophs. Its name only depicts that it is related to chemicals. Now, the example of chemosynthetic is bacteria. Now we have come to topic photosynthesis, the process by which green plants prepare their own food with the help of CO2, H2O in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. The reaction which is involved in photosynthesis is 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. It turns to C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. Now, the function of chlorophyll. The function of chlorophyll first is trapping sunlight. It means to trap the sunlight which is used in the photosynthesis process. Now, second, photosynthesis of H2O. It means to convert H2O into 2H plus half O2 plus 2 electrons. Now, the function of sunlight is it is first converted into chemical energy and then used by photosynthesis of water, and then used for photosynthesis of water. Sunlight is used for photosynthesis of water. Firstly, sunlight is converted into chemical energy and then used for photosynthesis of water. Now, function of water. The role of water is to release oxygen from the water molecules into the atmosphere in the form of oxygen gas and used in a light reaction. I want to show you the reaction involving the function which tells us about function of water. H2O is converted into H plus O2. In this reaction we got O2, which is very important for the photosynthesis process. Now, the function of CO2. It is reduced in dark reaction and helps in the photolysis of water. You will learn what is dark reaction in this video only. Now you must know what is the photolysis of water. Photolysis of water means the splitting of water molecules in the presence of light or photons into hydrogen ions, oxygen and electrons. Photolysis of water occurs in chloroplast of plants. Where does it occur? In chloroplast of plant. It also occurs in the thylakoids of cyanobacteria, or we can say blue-green algae. The reaction involved in photolysis of water is this only. This we have studied it earlier. H2O turns to 2H plus half O2 plus 2 electron. Now, light reaction and dark reaction. Light reaction. Its name only depicts that it must happen in the presence of light. First of all, chlorophyll entraps sunlight. Then the light energy is converted into chemical energy. Then splitting of water molecules takes place. H plus ion is released. It takes place in thylakoid. This all takes place in light phase, thus called light reaction. Now, dark reaction. In this, reduction of CO2 happens. It takes place in stroma of chloroplast. It is light independent reaction process. It means that it doesn't need light for its functioning. Now, nutrition in animals. Based on food habits, animals can be divided into following categories: herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, scavengers, decomposers. I know that you all know what these 5 things depicts. Herbivores eat plants and plant products, example cow, buffalo, etc. Second, carnivores eat flesh and other animals, example lion, tiger, etc. Omnivores eat both plant and flesh of other animals. Now, scavengers are animals that consume dead organisms, those have died due to some causes other than predation, example wolf, raccoons, etc. Now, decomposers are organisms that break down dead or decaying organisms and carry out the process of decomposition, example soil, bacterium. You must learn all the two examples of these 5 topics. Herbivores. The example of herbivores is cow and buffalo, of carnivores lion, tiger, of omnivores humans, of scavengers wolf and raccoons, and of decomposers soil, bacterium. Now, nutrition in amoeba. Nutrition in amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism. It takes place in food using temporary finger-like projection or extension of the cell's surface called pseudopodia, which fuses over a food particle, forming a food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole, complex substances are broken down into simpler substances which then diffuse into cytoplasm. The remaining undigested material is moved to the surface of the cell and thrown out. The figure which depicts all the processes involved in nutrition amoeba is this. Inside amoeba, nucleus is present, and these two are finger-like projection are called pseudopodia. These finger-like projection fuses over the food particle and take it inside, and when they consume it, the remaining undigested material is also transported out by these finger-like projection pseudopodia. Now, nutrition in humans. The most important and vital topic of this chapter, nutrition in humans. firstly the food comes to our mouth, then after that it goes to buccal cavity / we can also say buccal cavity as oral cavity or in tongue. Now oesophagus, which is food pipe, and after oesophagus food comes to stomach, and after that small intestine, and after small intestine, large intestine, and the undigested food goes out of our body from anus. Now we will study this process in brief. Mouths. Nutrition in humans starts from mouth. Food enters in the human body through mouth. You can easily understand this, that food enters our human body through mouth. Now food enters to buccal cavity, oral cavity. It has teeth and the muscular organ tongue to claw the food, or we can say to chew the food. It has a fluid called saliva, which is released from salivary gland and wets the food so that it can reach stomach smoothly. The saliva contains an important enzyme for digestion, which is known as salivary amylase, that breaks down starch, which is a complex molecule, to give simpler sugar. Once again, that's salivary amylase breaks down starch, which is complex molecule, to give simpler sugar. Salivary amylase is secreted by salivary gland. Now oesophagus. Now food comes to oesophagus, which is known as food pipe. Oesophagus is also called the food pipe and connects mouth to the stomach. The lining of the canal has muscles that contract and relaxes rhythmically in order to push the food forward. You will understand this more specifically by the diagram which I am going to show you. This diagram is of an NCERT book. Firstly, the food enters our mouth from here. Then it reaches here in tongue, where salivary amylase saliva is present, and after this from buccal cavity it reaches to oesophagus, and after this stomach. It comes to stomach. The stomach is a large organ which expands when food enters to it. The muscular walls of the stomach help in mixing the food thoroughly with more digestive juices. The digestion in the stomach is taken care by gastric glands present in the stomach wall of stomach. They release hydrochloric acid, a protein digesting enzyme called pepsin, and mucus. The HCl acid creates an acidic medium which facilitates the action of enzyme pepsin. Firstly, enzyme pepsin. I will show you. Firstly, there is pepsinogen. Now, in the presence of HCl, this pepsinogen is in inactive form. When HCl reacts with pepsinogen, it gives pepsin, a protein digesting enzyme, and this is in active form. Now, and mucus. Now, this pepsin is used for digesting protein. The mucus protects the inner lining of stomach from the action of acid and or we can say to create normal condition, because we know that HCl is a very reactive and we can say the strongest acid. That's why the mucus is present in the inner lining of stomach, which protects the inner lining of stomach from the action of Cl. Now, it regulates the transfer of food to the small intestine. Food is stored for short time in it. Now you have to learn this also, that the semi-solid food in the stomach is called chyme. With the help of sphincter muscle, that is due to its rhythmic movement, food is transported to small intestine. Now small intestine is divided into three parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. Small intestine has three parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. From the largest gland of the body, is liver, which produces bile juices with its salts and stored in gallbladder, and then with a common duct, bile and pancreatic juice both reaches duodenum or small intestine. Now, when the food is in duodenum, bile is not an enzyme, thus important for digestion, because it made it makes the acidic food came from stomach into alkaline because pancreatic juice works only in alkaline medium. Once again, bile is not an enzyme, thus important for digestion because it made the acidic food came from stomach into alkaline because pancreatic juices works only in alkaline medium. Now, there is one more function of bile, that bile emulsifies fat into small globules, and this process is called emulsification. Now, when the medium is made alkaline by the bile, pancreatic juices are ready to work. Pancreatic juice contains three types of enzymes: trypsin, lipase, and pancreatic amylase. Trypsin digests protein, lipase digests fat, pancreatic amylase digests carbohydrate. Then after duodenum, food moves to jejunum. Walls of small intestine releases an intestinal juice called succus extericus. It helps in the complete digestion. It helps in complete digestion of food. There is one favorite question of boards, that where does the complete digestion of food happens? It happens in small intestine. Now, food has reached to jejunum, and then in jejunum, when complete digestion of food has taken place. Now we know that in a small intestine complete digestion of food has taken place. Here protein is converted into amino acid, fat is converted into fatty acid and glycerol, and carbohydrate is converted into glucose. Then after digestion, absorption of nutrients takes place in ileum. The mixing of nutrients in body fluid in simplest form is called absorption. The mixing of nutrients in body fluid in simplest form is called absorption. Ileum contains many small hair-like projections called villi. It increases the surface area for absorption. Here, numerous blood capillaries are present which carry nutrients to various body parts. They broke down into energy for utilization. You have to learn this, that what happens here, the nutrients are mixed in a body fluid in simplest form, and it is called absorption. Then this fluid is carried to all the body parts so that these body parts can consume this nutrient and release energy for their life processes. After this, assimilation takes place. Intake of digested food by cells is termed as assimilation. This is a utilization of food, which means to obtain energy from the food, which I have told you earlier. These molecules are used for building or repair of tissues. Now, glucose to make energy. Glucose is used to make energy. Amino acid to make protoplast. Fats provide energy to immediate or subsequent use in adipose tissue. Now, the food reaches to large intestine. It's in a small intestine, then it reaches to large intestine. Now, in large intestine is divided into two parts, colon and rectum. Colon absorbs water from undigested food. Rectum stores solid fecal matter temporarily, and after this, undigested fecal matter is excreted from anus. I will show you all this by this diagram. In this we can see that this is rectum in a large intestine. Here all the fecal matter is stored, and after this it goes out through anus. So now we have completed this part of this life process chapter, nutrition, and in another video we will learn. As you can see that this part of life process chapter, which is termed as nutrition, is completed. And in my next video I will teach you respiration, the second part of this chapter, nutrition. So please subscribe my channel and turn the notification bell to all so that you can get notified as I upload the respiration part video. Actually, this is my first video on YouTube, so please ignore any mistake if I did. So goodbye, stay home, stay safe.